prove his love runs deeper than attraction. In this video, we'll uncover these powerful behaviors, inspired by Carl Jung's wisdom, so you can know without a doubt if his heart is truly yours. Stay with us, because by the end, you'll see love in a whole new light. Have you ever felt a gaze so intense it seemed to reach right into your heart? That moment when his eyes lock with yours during intimacy, and the world around you fades away. This isn't just a fleeting glance, it's the first and most powerful sign of a love that runs soul deep, straight out of Carl Jung's playbook. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist who mapped the depths of the human psyche, called the eyes the windows to the soul for a reason. In those unguarded moments of connection, a man's gaze reveals truths his words might never dare to speak. When a man is deeply in love, his eye contact during intimacy isn't just about passion, it's an unconscious confession. He's not just looking at you, he's letting you see him, the raw, unfiltered version of himself he usually keeps hidden. Carl Jung's concept of the anima, the inner feminine aspect of a man's psyche, plays a key role here. The anima craves depth, intimacy, and emotional nurturing. When he holds your gaze, it's his anima reaching out, bridging the gap between his conscious self and the vulnerable corners of his soul. This kind of eye contact requires courage because it strips away the masks we wear in everyday life. It's a surrender, a silent promise that says, I trust you with all of me. Picture this. Sarah, a 32-year-old teacher, noticed a shift in her partner Mark after months of dating. During their most intimate moments, he started holding her gaze longer than usual. It wasn't just desire in his eye-sit, it was something deeper, almost spiritual. It felt like he was seeing me, not just my body, she shared. And I could see him too, the spheres, his hopes, all laid bare in that moment. That's the magic of deep eye contact. It's not something you can fake. It's a reflex of the heart, an involuntary offering that happens only when a man feels safe enough to let his guard down. Carl Jung would argue this is more than just a romantic gesture, it's a psychological event. The eyes are one of the few parts of us that can't lie. Words can be rehearsed, actions can be calculated, but the gaze, it's raw, unfiltered, and direct. When a man avoids eye contact during intimacy, it might signal an emotional barrier, perhaps a fear of vulnerability or unresolved wounds Carl Jung called the shadow. Those hidden parts of ourselves we're afraid to confront. A man who shies away from your gaze might still care, but he's likely guarding a piece of himself he's not ready to share. Contrast that with a man who lingers in your eyes. He's not just present in the moment he's emotionally exposed. His gaze says, I'm here, fully, with you. It's why lovers often close their eyes during a kiss, only to reopen them afterward, as if to reaffirm the connection. That moment of reconnection is primal, a silent vow. You are my home, and I'm not afraid to be seen. This doesn't mean every moment of intimacy needs to be a staring contest. Love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. But when those moments of deep eye contact happen, they're a sign of something profound. Carl Jung believed true intimacy is about integrating our light and shadow, merging two souls into something greater. When a man holds your gaze, he's inviting you into that sacred space. So, how can you tell if it's real? Pay attention to the feeling. Does his gaze make you feel seen, cherished, and safe? Or is it fleeting, distracted, or guarded? The difference is night and day. A man in love doesn't just look at you, he sees you, and in that moment, you become the mirror to his soul. Have you ever felt that kind of connection with someone? That unspoken bond where words aren't needed? That's the power of deep eye contact. It's love's first language, and according to Carl Jung, it's the truest. Stay with us as we dive into the next sign, because if you thought this was powerful, the next one will show you just how far his love can go. What does it mean when a man puts your joy before his own in the most intimate moments? It's not just generosity, it's a profound sign of love that echoes the teachings of Carl Jung. When a man is deeply in love, his actions in the bedroom shift from chasing his own desires to cherishing yours. This selfless act, according to Carl Jung's psychology, reveals a heart that sees your happiness as inseparable from his own. It's not about obligation or performance. It's an unconscious vow, a silent declaration that your fulfillment is his greatest reward. Carl Jung's concept of the anima, the inner feminine aspect of a man's psyche, is at the heart of this behavior. The anima represents empathy, tenderness, and the longing for emotional connection. When a man loves deeply, his anima guides him to balance his masculine drive with a softer, more receptive side. In those moments, intimacy becomes more than a physical act. It transforms into a sacred exchange, what Carl Jung called the conjunctio, or the union of opposites. A man who prioritizes your pleasure isn't just giving. He's merging his soul with yours, creating a bond that transcends the body. Imagine Lisa, a 29-year-old graphic designer, who noticed this shift in her partner James after a year together. In their early days, their intimacy was passionate but often rushed, driven by mutual desire. But as their love deepened, James began to slow down, paying attention to her reactions. He'd pause to check in, asking with genuine curiosity, "Does this feel good for you?" His focus wasn't just on his own satisfaction anymore, it was on her joy. "It wasn't like he was trying to impress me," Lisa recalled. "It felt like my happiness was his happiness, like he was undone by seeing me feel good." That's the hallmark of true love. When a man's instincts shift from taking to giving, not because he has to, but because he wants to. This behavior is rooted in Carl Jung's idea of the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we often suppress. For many men, societal norms cast selfishness in intimacy as natural, a primal urge to conquer or consume. But when love takes hold, the shadow's grip loosens. A man in love confronts those baser instincts and chooses something higher. He delays his own gratification, not out of duty, but because your pleasure becomes a mirror of his own. Carl Jung saw this as a form of alchemy, turning the raw metal of desire into the gold of devotion. It's why the smallest acts, like the way he lingers to ensure you're fulfilled or remembers what makes you light up, carry such weight. They're not calculated, they're instinctive, as if your body were an extension of his own. Contrast this with encounters driven by lust or infatuation. In those moments, the focus is often one-sided, with little regard for the other's experience. A man caught in fleeting desire might chase his own climax, leaving you feeling like an afterthought. But a man in love? He's captivated by your responses. He studies you, not to perform but to connect. His joy comes from seeing you unravel, from knowing he's brought you to that place of bliss. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. He's not trying to be a hero. He's simply so attuned to you that your pleasure feels like his own victory. Carl Jung believed relationships are mirrors, reflecting the parts of ourselves we must heal or embrace. A man who gives freely in intimacy has likely faced his own shadow-shiz fears of inadequacy, his need for control, and emerged willing to serve rather than dominate. This vulnerability is what makes his actions so powerful. When he prioritizes your pleasure, he's saying with his body what words could never fully capture: "You are sacred to me, and your joy is my purpose." Have you ever noticed this in your partner? That moment when his attention feels like a gift, not a transaction. It's a sign his love runs deeper than the surface, rooted in the unconscious wisdom Carl Jung described. And it's not just about what happens in the moment, it's about what it reveals. A man who loves you this way carries that devotion beyond the bedroom, into the way he listens, supports, and shows up for you in life. This selflessness is love's fingerprint, impossible to fake. It's a quiet rebellion against the ego, a choice to put you first because to him, there is no separation between your heart and his. As Carl Jung would say, this is where true transformation begins, where two souls meet, not to take, but to give. Stay with us as we explore the next sign, because it reveals what happens when the passion fades and the real connection begins. What happens after the passion fades, when the room grows quiet and it's just the two of you? The moments after intimacy are where a man's true feelings shine through. And according to Carl Jung, they reveal more about his love than the act itself. When a man is deeply in love, he doesn't pull away or retreat into silence. Instead, he lingers, holding you close, sharing a quiet thought, or simply resting his forehead against yours. These are not just tender gestures, they're unconscious revelations of a heart that sees you as home. Carl Jung's psychology tells us that these moments of vulnerability are where love speaks its loudest truth. Carl Jung believed that intimacy has the power to dissolve the ego, that protective shell we wear to navigate the world. In those raw, unguarded moments after closeness, the unconscious mind takes over, revealing what a man truly feels. For many men, society drills in the idea that vulnerability is weakness, that emotional openness somehow diminishes their strength. But when a man is in love, those walls crumble. His shadow, the hidden, sensitive parts of his psyche he's been taught to suppress, emerges without permission. He might pull you into his arms, stroke your hair absent-mindedly, or share a memory from his childhood he's never mentioned before. These acts aren't planned. They're the psyche's rebellion against pretense, proof that he trusts you with his whole self, not just his body. Picture Emily, a 35-year-old nurse, who noticed this shift in her partner David after they moved in together. After their intimate moments, David would stay close, his arm draped over her, his breathing soft and steady. One night, as they lay in the quiet, he started talking about his childhood dog, a story he'd never shared before. "It wasn't just the words," Emily said. "It was the way he held me, like he didn't want the moment to end. I felt like I was seeing the real him for the first time." That's the power of post-sex affection. It's not about grand gestures, but about the quiet, instinctive need to stay connected. Carl Jung would call this the transcendent function, the psyche's way of bridging the conscious and unconscious to create a deeper bond. This vulnerability serves a purpose. Carl Jung saw intimacy as a mirror, reflecting the parts of ourselves we must integrate to become whole. When a man stays present after intimacy, he's showing that he associates you with safety, not just pleasure. His openness, whether it's a soft touch, a shared laugh, or a moment of silence where you feel completely understood, reveals that his defenses are down. He's not performing or seducing. He's simply with you, raw and unfiltered. This is love's truest language, spoken not in words but in the comfort of being fully seen. Contrast this with a man who withdraws after intimacy. He might turn away, check his phone, or fall silent, rebuilding the walls of his ego. This doesn't always mean he doesn't create, could signal unresolved shadows, like fear of exposure or past wounds that make vulnerability feel unsafe. But when a man lingers, when he treats the afterglow as something precious, he's showing you what Carl Jung called the integration of the self. He's not just sharing his body, he's sharing his inner world, the parts he rarely lets anyone see. Have you ever felt that kind of closeness? That moment when the world fades and it's just you and him, no masks, no pretense. It's in these quiet moments that love reveals itself, not in the heat of passion, but in the tenderness that follows. Carl Jung's wisdom reminds us that true intimacy is about merging two souls, not just two bodies. When a man opens up to you after intimacy, he's whispering with his actions what his heart might struggle to say. "You are my safe place, and I'm not afraid to be me with you." So, pay attention to those moments after. Does he hold you like you're his anchor? Does he share a piece of himself, no matter how small? These are the signs of a love that runs deeper than desire. A love that Carl Jung would say touches the divine. Stay with us as we move to the final sign, because it's the most primal and beautiful of alla dance of souls that words can't capture. Have you ever noticed how, in the quiet of intimacy, your bodies seem to move as one? His breath slows to match yours. Your hands find each other without thought, and every touch feels like it was meant to be. This isn't just chemistry, it's the final and most primal sign of a love so deep it transcends words. Carl Jung called this participation mystique, a mystical state where two souls merge into a single rhythm, guided by the ancient wisdom of the unconscious. When a man is truly in love, his body speaks this silent language, creating a dance of souls that only happens when hearts are fully entwined. Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious, that shared reservoir of human experience, helps explain this phenomenon. In love, our bodies tap into something primal, a memory older than time. When you're lying together, notice how your movements align without effort. You shift, and he shifts with you. You sigh, and his breath echoes yours. It's as if your nervous systems are in conversation, weaving a biological poetry that words could never capture. This isn't conscious imitation, it's communion, a sign that his love has moved beyond the mind into the realm of instinct. Take Mia and Ethan, a couple married for 3 years. After a long day, they'd lie together in bed, their bodies naturally falling into sync. Mia noticed how Ethan's hand would rest on her hip exactly when she needed comfort, or how their breathing would settle into the same rhythm as they drifted towards sleep. "It felt like we were one person," she said. "No words, no effort, just this perfect harmony." Carl Jung would say this is the archetype of the divine couple at work, a universal symbol of unity found in myths across cultures. When a man's body mirrors yours, it's his unconscious declaring, "You are not separate from me. You are home." This synchronization is more than just physical, it's spiritual. Science backs this up. Studies on limbic synchrony show that deeply bonded couples often align their heart rates and breathing during close moments. For a man in love, this happens instinctively. His touch becomes reverent, his movements fluid, as if your body were an extension of his own. Carl Jung saw this as enantiodromia, the tendency of opposites to flow toward each other, creating balance. In those quiet moments, your bodies are remembering what your minds might forget, that love, at its core, is a return to wholeness. Contrast this with casual encounters, where movements feel stiff or self-conscious. Without emotional depth, the body stays guarded, each person aware of their separateness. But when love is present, those barriers dissolve. His hand finds the small of your back, just when you need it. Your head fits perfectly in the curve of his shoulder. These micro moments are love's purest expression, unscripted and authentic. They can't be faked because they come from a place deeper than intention, the unconscious mind, where Carl Jung believed our truest selves reside. Why does this matter? Because these synchronized movements are proof of a connection that goes beyond the surface. They're the body's way of saying what the heart might struggle to articulate. We are one. Carl Jung's teachings remind us that love is alchemy, transforming two separate beings into something greater. When your bodies move in harmony, you're not just lovers, you're partners in a sacred dance, choreographed by the timeless wisdom of the psyche. Have you ever felt this kind of effortless connection? That moment when your bodies seem to know each other better than your minds do. It's a sign his love is soul deep, rooted in the primal truths Carl Jung uncovered. Pay attention to these moments. They're the heartbeat of your bond, the quiet proof that his love is more than words or actions. It's a living, breathing truth. Stay with us for the outro, where we'll tie it all together and leave you with a powerful call to reflect on your own love story. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a language, spoken in the quiet glances, selfless acts, tender moments, and unspoken rhythms of two souls intertwined. Through Carl Jung's wisdom, we've uncovered 4 powerful signs that a man's love runs deeper than words. The soul, bearing gaze of deep eye contact, the selfless devotion of prioritizing your pleasure, the raw vulnerability of post-sex affection, and the primal dance of synchronized movements. These aren't just behaviors, they're the heart's way of whispering, "You are my home, my truth, my everything." Carl Jung taught us that true love is alchemy, transforming two separate beings into a sacred whole. So, take a moment to reflect. Have you seen these signs in your own life? Which one resonates with you the most? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear how love speaks to you. If this journey through Carl Jung's lens has opened your eyes to the beauty of soul-deep connection, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Jung Psyche Hub, and ring the bell for more psychology-driven insights. Let's keep exploring the mysteries of the heart together, because in the end, as Carl Jung would say, the body never lies about love, so listen closely, and you'll always know where you truly stand.